What's up, guys? You're watching JayzTwoCents, and today we're going to take a look at the brand spanking new NB-ELOOP 1600 RPM ultra quiet fan from Phobya. This thing was designed in conjunction with Noise Blocker, so we're going to see just how this thing performs on our water cooling setup. Okay, so the fan comes in this nice packaging here. It's actually pretty decent packaging. Some fans come in horrible packaging. Inside the box here, you have, and one of the things I absolutely love about Phobya, and I just want to point that out right now, is they sleeve everything. Everything that comes electronic from them, their fan controllers, obviously their fans, have really, really good sleeving on them. I mean, they don't scrimp in that area. As you can see right here, we are using the black and red model because we have kind of an ROG theme going with this water cooling build that we're working on. And the fins are actually transparent, just like the Noise Blocker fans if you've ever looked at Noise Blocker. And if you're not familiar with Noise Blocker, they're a very good fan company, teamed up with Phobya to bring you just one of the best fans that they could possibly build. You get a pretty generous length of wire here for the fan. I wouldn't say it's incredibly long, but I also say it's not as short as the Corsair fans where they only give you like that much fan cable, which you can't do anything with. But what's really interesting about this fan design is if you come in here and look closely, you'll see that not only do you have these blades, but on the side of the blade, they're all connected with a ring. Typical fans, each blade is independent of each other, and what happens with that is the fan, the air wants to take the least resistance path of travel, which means sometimes you're going to lose some of the air out the side of the fan between the fan blade and the shroud here, so you're going to have air escaping out the sides. But what this ring around here does is it literally scoops the air in, and it has nowhere to go except out the back side of the fan. So that means you're going to get maximum air pressure, static pressure, and you're going to get maximum airflow as well from one fan design. And also too, we have these little ridges here on the back of the fan. You can see them, they're kind of difficult to see, they're right here. These ridges are designed to kind of break up some of the noise that comes with airflow. So it's not only going to channel the air in a more straight for higher static pressure operation, but it also gives a much more silent operation to the fan because it's scooping all of that air very cleanly rather than chopping the air, which is what a basic fan does. These fans right here are very cool. I cannot wait to see how these things perform. They have an entirely new bearing design too. They call it, and I want to look this up for so that I don't get this messed up here. Bear with me, guys. Half the box is in German, and granted, I do read some German. Yeah. Okay, so we'll just go through some specs here real quick before we put these in this build and see what we've got here. We've got 1600 RPMs. They require 1 watt to operate. They operate a starting voltage of 6 volts, a little bit higher than some fans. Some fans start at 5 volt. These guys are going to start at 6 volts. They have a maximum static pressure at 12 volts. 1560 mmH2O. I actually don't know what that means. I just know the higher the static number, the better. But they claim to be really good at static pressure. They have 104 M3H of airflow. I don't follow airflow much, but it does have 61.2 CFM. That is a lot of airflow, and or cubic feet per minute is what CFM is. That's got to be because of that ring design. I can't wait to see how these sound because they're advertising only 22.5 decibels at 100 cm sound pressure. So 22.5 decibels. We're going to see if that's 22.5 at 6 volts or 12 volts. Some companies will only show you their sound rating based on their lowest starting voltage, which is kind of unfair because you put 12 volts to it and then it sounds like a hairdryer. And then you get it and you're going, well, I thought I was getting a quiet fan, and now I've got this really loud hairdryer in my computer. And the bearing design, which I mentioned earlier, they call it a bionic rotor. Now, because it's patented, I don't know how much information you'll find about this bionic, it says Bionic Loop fan right here on the bottom, designed in Germany. because we all know the Germans make awesome stuff. I mean that, by the way. Just to show you how smooth these bearings are. Most of the time, if you spin a fan, you'll see as it slows down, it kind of does a whoop, whoop, you know, kind of a little jerky motion as it goes over the magnet. Check this out. This thing just goes and goes and goes, and as it slows down, you can see right there, it hit that magnet, but look how smooth that is. I'm barely touching that. And it is just so smooth. And what's funny is normally if you spin a fan by hand, sometimes you can't feel any of the airflow, like with the SP120 fans from Corsair. Great fans, I use them in my system. But if you spin them by hand, you don't really feel any air. But these right here, the airflow just from spinning it by hand is absolutely amazing. If these things live up, and if Phobya ever makes these in yellow, I think I might end up switching my fans. So let's go ahead and put this system together, and let's see exactly how these things stack up. Okay, we're back, and the loop is together. You would think we've done this loop 500 times with all the videos we've done on this particular loop system, but bear with us. We just got to get through this together, I promise. It'll be over soon. We've got the fans in here, the Phobya NB 1600 RPM, super high static pressure. I don't even know, I've personally not run a fan that has as much static pressure as these fans right here that we put into this client build. It's really difficult when doing a review in fans to really relay to you the noise or the static pressure. I mean, a lot of people don't know what static pressure is. That's the amount of force it can push through resistance. And then you have airflow, which is the amount of volume of air that a fan can move in a non-restrictive environment. And when you're doing water cooling, which is one of the things these fans are designed for, is very high static pressure. You want to be able to push the fans or the air through the resistance of the radiator. And in this build right here, we do have 45mm thick Alpha Cool Nexus XT45 radiators. So with that, a lot of people ask, well, push-pull, like we mentioned earlier in the video. When you have a fan like this, and with that really cool ring design that goes around the outside of the fan that forces the air through it, and it has nowhere else it can go off to the side because it doesn't have that gap around the blades, and it's like one big blade turning, the amount of static pressure is amazing. I want to demonstrate something for you right now because I feel this is the way to really get across just how powerful yet not excessively noisy these fans are. At 12 volts, they are a little bit noisy when you run them through a radiator simply because it's the radiator making the sound, it's not the fan. You have the air is bouncing through all those fins, so it's not a very fair test to say that it's a noisy fan. 1600 RPMs is a fast spinning fan. But at the same time, that's what gives it a lot of its maximum static pressure. We are running at 12 volts here right now on these fans. I've got a piece of paper here, and the fans are up here on the top of this NZXT Switch 810, pulling the air through the radiator. And if I take this paper, I can stick that to the radiator right there. I mean, yeah, that's the case for probably most fans, but the fact that this, as you can see, will pull it, I mean, this, it is from this distance through a radiator, it is pulling the paper out of my hand. Do you see this? I can't even get it in there to show you without it sucking it up. And then the amount of air pushing through the top, even through this grill, as you can see, we have a grill up here. That is the amount of airflow that we are dealing with these fans. So if you need yourself some really high pressure static fans for water cooling, or you just want a nice strong fan for a case, the Phobya fans definitely hit it out of the park. I mean, they come in a few different colors too. They're in red, black, blue. They've got rubber grommets on the corner that make it so that they're a lot more silent. They have some noise dampening in there. And I'm telling you right now, the amount of static pressure that these put out is absolutely amazing. There is just no other way to describe it. So definitely a winner product as far as I'm concerned. And I personally never said that a product was like an award-winning product on this channel. I don't do awards, but I'm definitely going to say that these fans hit it right out of the park. So check out those fans, guys, over on aquatuning.us. Thanks, Aquatuning, for sending those fans over for me to do a review on. And as always, if you've liked what you've seen, you know what you do. You hit the button, you hit those buttons, you stick around, and the social media information is down in the description. Tweet your questions to me if you have any tech questions, computer questions. Be more than happy to communicate with you guys and help you out on those technology fronts. Guys, I'm gonna get on out of here. I'm exhausted. It's been a lot of videos, a very busy week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a subscriber. And as always, I'll see you in my next video.